Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for this week's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. I'm Davia Chambers, your moderator for this afternoon's press conference. Presenting to the media this week is Assembly Member Ricky Jofield, Secretary of the Division of Housing, Settlements and Public Utilities. So at this time, I'd hand over to Secretary Jofield.
Good afternoon, Tobago, and by extension, Trinidad and Tobago. So as said before, my name is Ricky Jofield, member for Darrell Spring WIM, and also the Secretary of Housing, Settlements and Public Utilities. So today, I want to bring you guys an update on what's happening within my division, which I'm pleased to be the Secretary of. So it is my personal mandate to provide safe, modern, accessible housing to the people of Tobago. And today I want to give you all an update on two developments that is currently on the way, which is being undertaken by the Tobago Urban and Rural Corporation Limited, better known as TURC. So we have the Riseland Housing Development, which is located in Canby, and we also have the Adventure Phase 3 development, which is located in Plymouth. Today I'm pleased to provide this update and the initiatives. Both developments, I can say, is within the mobilization phase and commence somewhat in the early parts of January this year. The Riseland Housing Development is being delivered under a design-build finance model, while Adventure Phase 3 is structured under a delivery-focused EPC turnkey framework. As I said before, works are currently on the way. Mobilization of resources and finalization of defined detailed construction programs are in the process of being developed. Each project is structured within an 18-month delivery period, supported and established implementation schedules, reporting framework, and oversight mechanisms to ensure timely and accountable execution. Importantly, both developments were procured through comprehensive process, with multiple submissions being received and evaluated in accordance with the established public procurement procedure. This approach ensures transparency and fairness and value for money, which is an important factor for the people of Tobago. So let me start with the Riseland Housing Development. The Riseland Housing Development will deliver 130 units, comprising of 100 townhouses and 30 duplexes on approximately 3.4 hectares of land, as I said, situated in the area of Canby. Adventure Phase 3 development will deliver 120 housing units, inclusive of apartments, duplexes, and single-family homes, providing a diverse housing mix to support the varying household needs. Across both developments, we try to be as affordable as possible. So the pricing expectations will range between $850,000 to $1.3 million, subjected to final unit specifications and approved location policies. The division is coordinating with TURC, has established a structured governance agreement to support delivery including, as I said, defined project timelines, which is very important to us delivering to the people in a timely manner to ensure availability as soon as possible. So as I indicated before, both of these developments will take approximately 18 months execution period, which will stem between now and probably by next July. We are hoping to deliver in each development at the end of the year at least 50 units, or if we may push 50% of the development by Christmas this year. It is a hope, but the contractors indicated that they will try to deliver 50 each in each development by December of this year. These projects present significant investment in the Tobago housing sector and forms a part of the broader structured program to expand access to home ownership, which has been a problem on the island for quite a number of years. And it, as I said, it's my personal mandate to solve this issue for the people of Tobago. So I wish to emphasize that engagements of this nature form part of the division's general stakeholder outreach approach and the public information efforts that are not connected to any current or future procurement processes. The division remains committed to upholding the principles of transparency and accountability and equally access to all aspects of this operation. And as I said, it is my mandate to make sure everything going forward in the division of housing, settlements, and public utilities is as transparent as possible, and everyone is given a fair chance from the beginning, which is the construction phase, to also distribution of these units. So at this juncture, I would like to say that is the update that I have concerning these two developments as executed under the Division of Housing, Settlements, and Public Utilities.
Thank you, Secretary Joe Field, for providing those updates. At this time, we'll take questions from members of the media. Please note, we'll only accept 2 questions per media house in the first instance. If you're joining us via Zoom, of course, you just raise your virtual hand. Elizabeth Williams, TV6 News. Good afternoon, Elizabeth. So you can unmute your mic and proceed to ask your question. So we're not hearing you, Elizabeth. We have a media house in-house here with us at Ho Choi Charles Administrative Complex, Stephon Nicholas of Guardian Media Limited. So you can go ahead and pose your question, Mr. Nicholas.
Hi, Mr. Joe Field, Stephon Nicholas, Guardian Media. Good day. There was a mention of a loan, an IDB loan in the past concerning housing. Can you give any clarification in terms of what is the status of that? Because I think it was connected to the Rise Land project as well. And is there, what criteria is there for the distribution of houses? I know sometimes people within the government service, protective services get priority. Is there any situation in terms of that given preference?
Okay, so let me answer the first question. Concerning the IDB loan, that loan based on the allocation which is coming from central government, the Rise Land project was already awarded to a contractor in the new, let me say, the new model of investment that we are using at the THA at this administration, which is a design build finance. So the loan, we had to transfer that loan allocation to do Colon instead of Rise Land. So it is not going to be allocated to Rise Land anymore. It's going to be allocated to develop a 27-acre plot that we have there, which will comprise of public, I think is approximately 173 parcels of land. Excuse me, what was the second question?
The criteria for distribution.
Well, the criteria for distribution remains the same. I will inform the public that based on scenarios that I experienced while taking up tenureship within the division, I realized that we have a backlog of approximately 8,000 to, let me say, 10,000 applicants. We are now exploring, exploring some avenues of sanitizing that list to make sure that that list is true and actually current. The procedure remains the same for applying for these grant homes. You will have to be pre-qualified and then qualified by a bank in order to purchase these lands. So the criteria still remains the same. The same allocations is made to all the different categories that you mentioned. We haven't changed that policy thus far. All I would say is that we are looking at the sanitizing the lists that we currently have. So I will advise the public in not too long distant future that there will be a procedure to go and update your, update your account, to update your application to bring us up to date. We need to know, in order for us to do our projections, because I said my mandate is to deliver homes to the people of Tobago. So I will need to know, or need to have an idea of exactly what our targets are before we start doing anything.
Thank you for your questions, Mr. Nicholas. Elizabeth? So I'm still not hearing you, Elizabeth. Maybe you can try typing your question in the chat and I'd see if I can be able to see it, to read the question to Mr. Jofield. In the meantime, I'm seeing Aliyah Balgobin, Tobago Updates.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The question I have is the job placement for the disabled. Was it discussed in the post-exec meeting, and what update can you give us as to what is taking place?
Could you repeat that?
Can you repeat your question, Aliyah? Can you repeat your question, Aliyah?
Hi, you hearing me now?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay, so the question is job placement for the disabled, and if you all can give an update as to what is taking place, if it was discussed, and if you all could give us an update.
Job displacement for the disabled?
At this moment, I won't be able to give a update on that, but I can indicate that we did not discuss that in exec today.
Elizabeth Williams?
Hello.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi, good afternoon. I don't know if you all can hear me now.
I am hearing you now.
Okay, perfect. Because I was trying to unmute before and it was saying the host is not allowing me to. Hi, Mr. Jofield. It's good to hear about the housing projects that you announced. One situation that has come to the fore, I don't know if you can look into it, is the Riseland Camby project. Some residents in the area have been complaining about the dust situation. So I don't know what could be done. I don't know if it was brought to your attention. In terms of the dust affecting some residents, those who have asthma, etc., complained to us about the situation. So I don't know if you can look into it. And what I wanted to know also in terms of Tobago's housing thrust, if you could give us like a total amount of houses. I know you said 50 per unit, but if you can give us like what's the total number of houses that would be delivered to the people of Tobago per year.
Okay, so to answer your first question, I have personally visited this site at Riseland, and I can indicate that the contractor had indeed put up some dust screens around the perimeter of the development. So the citizens on there should be getting some measure of comfort. I believe almost immediately. I went there last Friday and they were already up. To answer your second question, I won't be able at this time to give you a yearly figure. What I will do is to give you the figure concerning the two developments that are currently taking place. So as indicated at the Riseland development, there are going to be a total of 130 units. Let me stress on the word units. So there are going to be 100 townhouses and 30 duplexes. At the Adventure development, there are going to be a total of 120 units. This development is a little more diverse. This development is going to have a mixed housing mix. So we're going to have 5 high-rise apartment buildings with a total of, which will be 3 stories high, 4 units per floor, all 3-bedroom units, equaling to 60 units. We're going to have 10 duplexes, duplex buildings. Those are 20 units. So a duplex is one building with 2 different units, right? 10 3-bedroom units and 10 2-bedroom units. There are also going to be 40 single-family units, 22 bedroom and 23 bedroom units. So in total which is projected until probably July of next year, we have a combination of 120 and 130, which will bring us to a figure of 250 units between now and July of next year, which will be delivered to the people of Tobago.
Do we have any more questions from members of the media? Mr. Nicholas?
Mr. Joe Field, can you tell us who are the contractors for the Adventure and Rise Land developments?
Yes, I can. So, the Horizon development will be California Stucco, and the Adventure Housing Development is CSL Limited.
There has been a criticism in the past of not enough Tobago contractors being utilized. What is your response to that, Mr. Jofi?
So, as indicated, I had several meetings along with the chief, along with the Tobago, GCAT, which is the General Contractors Association, and they brought these same scenarios to us. We are working in tandem with them in terms of them bringing their companies. I've been very careful with the words that I use, but we are working very closely with them in terms of this or fixing this situation that they perceive to be happening. Firstly, these two contracts were awarded beyond my tenure. So I don't want to go too in-depth into the procedures or the procurement processes because I wasn't completely involved. I'm just here at this time to execute these projects.
Thank you for your response, Assembly Member Joe Field.
One last question, if you could indulge me, please. There's a development taking place at Cove. I don't know if you can shed some light on it. With the NGC has hired former PDP leader Watson Duke as a consultant. Can the THA shed any light in terms of what is Duke's role at Cove?
So
and did the Watson Duke ask the THA for a job?
So what I can indicate to you, sir, is that I'm here today on behalf of Housing, Settlements and Public Utilities. As indicated before I started the press conference, I'm just here to give an update on the two developments that actually kicked off or break ground in January. In terms of that situation that you are asking about, I have no information concerning that. So I prefer not to comment about it at this moment.
Thank you for your questions, Mr. Nicholas. Thank you for your response, Assembly Member Joe Field. We'll take the final question from Ms. Aliyah Balgobin.
Hi.
Hi again.
So, can you give us an estimated cost for these two projects and also the House coming up to elections last year? Mr. Pollard, the former secretary, would have spoke about distributing houses. Can you give us some insights on that as well?
When you say distributing houses, could you expand a bit?
Aliyah, can you provide more details in terms of your second question? Okay, so in the meantime, we'll respond to the first question and I await your response.
Okay, so the first development, which I will touch on, is a Horizon Housing Development located at Camby. The awarded contract for that development is $141,095,547, VAT inclusive. The second development, which is the Adventure Housing Development, the contract price is $139,197,000, VAT inclusive.
So Aliyah, you can unmute and you can pose your second question again with a little more detail so that Assembly Member Joe Field will be clear in his response.
Hi. So I was getting some trouble to unmute because the host wasn't allowing me. But leading up to the elections last year, Ian Pollard would have announced a lottery on the existing houses and we didn't hear anything further on it. Can you give us any comment or any information about that?
Okay, so that process is still on the way. Information will be given out to the public very soon, in a timely manner.
So thank you for your questions, Aliyah Balgobin. On that note, members of the media, those joining us online, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's Post-Executive Council media briefing. This week was short and sweet. Thank you, Assembly Member Ricky Jofield, Secretary of the Division of Housing, Settlements and Public Utilities, for your presentation. We hope to see you again next week, Thursday, viewers. Thanks again.